and then the stop sale that affected all the civilian bikes. We can't deliver these bikes. I'm on the phone immediately with BMW. Thankfully, the national sales manager is a real problem solver, fabulous person. And I explained the situation to him in this manner. I said, I don't want to know what not fulfilling this contract legally means on a financial level. But if the cause is BMW Motorrad, okay, this could get really ugly. So somehow we have to figure out how to solve this problem. And they've just told the entire world that all these bikes can't sell them. You can keep riding them. Customers keep riding their bikes. It's not a stop ride, but a stop sale. And we are going, oh my gosh, we are sweating bullets left and right. We have to let the police officers know, the MPDs, is right now we can't deliver. And we're 30 days ahead of schedule. But they would have loved to have had the bikes early. And to BMW's credit, working with us, working with Germany, they figured out the solution. And thankfully, our order was more important than the other 3 orders in the country, although they got fulfilled before civilian orders do. Thankfully, because legally, police bikes are classified different than civilian bikes. And so we go, shoo. So now we're going, all right, how quickly can you get these to us? Because BMW in Germany and BMW in the United States doesn't have a single brake caliper on the shelf because brake calipers typically don't fail. And the almost ironic part about this is that we don't have any brake calipers on these bikes that are showing any signs of failure. But because on a worldwide basis, they had seen a little bit of weepage on some of them, they were under an obligation, safety item, I get it, fully support it, that something had to be done to address all these. And they couldn't use the same supplier. And a couple of years ago, BMW chose, for whatever reasons, it could be beam counters, it could be something else, not to work with the Brembo brakes that we've worked with for decades, that have just never had problems. So that's why nobody's got any spares sitting on the shelf. There's literally not one Brembo brake caliper sitting in BMW's inventory on this continent or Europe's continent when this happened. But thankfully, BMW and Brembo have had a really good long-term relationship. The U.S. got every brake caliper that Brembo had on a plane coming over.
So when was this calendar-wise?
This is at the beginning of December.
Wow.
Stop sales started right at the end of October. We've got this month that we're sweating. We're building the bikes in November. We get them all done, and then all of a sudden, stop. So we had 2 other bikes for another police department. So we end up with 70 brake calipers, 35 pairs that show up, new brake pads, all that stuff. And that typically would have been 3 or 4 days by BMW's flat rate that they just sent us to do everything involved, pull them off, bleed them. A test ride's not required, but we weren't going to do this without another test ride, so another 10 miles. And we assigned 2 techs working side by side, 2 bikes each. 2 days later, they're all done, all test ridden. But we are hoping and praying that we get to ride the bikes down. So I've got 2 of my staff and 4 ambassadors. We're going to do 6 bikes at a time. So everyone's got their heated gear, everyone's ready to go. We take off on time, and I'm following behind in the Sprinter van. And despite the fact that we've got signage on the van, it doesn't say, hey, caution, police bikes or anything, but it's labeled up Bob's BMW. The 4-way flashers are on. I'm following 6 police bikes, and you have to be a moron not to recognize that they're police bikes. The number of people that try to cut in, between me and the bikes, try to get in between the bikes, and these guys are running in a nice, tight, staggered formation.
So what was that? What was that like? That you saw it on TV when you see those BMWs come up the street on TV and know you played a role in that? What did you feel like?
It was exalting. I mean, it was heart pounding. There's that nervous side involving the flags. We knew the bikes would perform flawlessly. We knew that the officers had more than enough time to get used to them. They had ridden up to our dealership several times just to say hi and stuff like that. But until that parade had finished, until those bikes got their, honored our new president, to his destination, I don't think the level of tension went down until that had been completed. You just don't know, especially with the wins. If the wins weren't present that day, we might not have even watched the whole thing. But with the wins, I mean, we're testing out an item that literally cost them less than $200 per bike. That took us, a bunch of months of going back and forth, but we're responsible for that design, delivering way beyond what they've ever had to deal with before. So that was really the pride part. But it's quite an honor. It only happens every 4 years. It doesn't matter whether you voted for the president that's leaving, the president that's incoming. To be part of that process in any shape or form, we won't ever forget that.
Very, very cool. What a fantastic story. Considering what everyone went through last year, to have this as a little bit of a gem of a story to experience, and to be part of literally be part of history.
This tied the team together more than I've ever seen before. It wasn't that, Bob is responsible for selling them and this person's responsible for that and the parts and the building them and the test riding and all that stuff. Everybody felt like they were just one team. This is the goal: get these bikes done ahead of time and make them available and get them delivered. And so it was a real boost in a year when so many people were sequestered. They were, living out of their homes. Some people weren't working. We're very thankful for all the things that ended up being positive in our lives, where we get to in turn do something good for others as well. And they've got the best tool they've ever had. I'm 100% confident that when they order more bikes, they won't be Harleys.